All right, welcome. Again, it's Brian Sanders with HSE UAV. Thanks for joining us live on YouTube. I'm here with Michael Ott with Rantizo.
Hello.
We've got a little, what they call this something, a confidence monitor in the corner there, okay? So we can tell that we're in the right spot, the right place, and all that stuff. Good. So, yeah, first, and people live on YouTube can't see, but the rest of our in-person crew that you were with this week is all standing here behind us. So, really great to be with you, and thanks for setting all this up.
Thank you.
So, this is Michael Ott. I'm going to give him a chance. We have to pass this. We only have one little microphone out here. But I'm going to ask Michael, I want to hear the top 3 benefits, really. Like, what are the things that set Rantizo really apart, the top 3 things? And then I want to hear, what are you going to be showcasing today at the demo?
Sure.
Awesome.
So our top benefit is that we are a true turnkey solution. So it is literally everything you need to spray. So we've got the drone, everyone's going to see that. We've also got a trailer. Inside that trailer is a mixing system. It's got an observation deck on top. We've got everything plumbed and set. Our app will have everything that you need for compliance, for tracking your jobs, invoicing, everything else there. So it's truly a turnkey package. That's the big thing. And then we've got our additions to the existing drone, which make it more productive. And then I guess the third thing, probably the people. A lot of good people. We got a nationwide network, so we're in 24 states now. I actually got an update. It was 23 as of last week, 24 as of now, and 50 contractors spanning from California to Pennsylvania, applying legally, precisely, right in the field.
That's so great. Yeah. Cool. And then tell us what you're showcasing today.
Sure. So today we're going to showcase our 3 drone swarm. So they're going to take off and go spray this field. This is actually a great field because it has a lot of contour, so you get to see the terrain following, which is going to do a great job. And then we've got our reloading system, which is sitting out over there. And when the drone lands, we have a one-touch reload, and it'll go right through there.
Amazing. Awesome. And we can see one up there on the observation deck at the very top of the trailer. For those of you on YouTube, you can kind of see him up there. Is he going to be the guy flying?
He is, yep.
Okay,
yep.
Awesome. So he'll control all of those aircraft from one station.
Yep, it's all pre-programmed.
Wow.
So we've put in one file that has the entire field that we want. We've got our settings we're at 6.5 feet above the crop. We're doing a 3-gallon rate. So that's all calibrated and done very precisely. So they'll take off here in just a second.
Ah, cool. And then those drones, as you mentioned a second ago, will just follow these contours. It's kind of hard for y'all to see online.
Yes.
Out in this field, and we'll spin you around in a moment, but it really has some good contour. So our people online will be able to see the aircraft accounting for that.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Right,
cool. Thanks, Michael.
A little bit,
All right. Thanks, everyone. That was Michael from Rantizo. And in just a moment, we'll give them a cue once everything's cleared, and we'll get them going up in the air. Thanks so much for joining us.
Territory with 3 10-liter drones and 1 30-liter drone would. So, Sean, when you're ready.
And then, Michael, if it works, I'll just give you this microphone so you can be able to speak right into it.
No, absolutely. So all 3 are going to take off. They'll go out to their pre-programmed starting points, and then they're going to drop down to the elevation. So on this flight, we're doing it 6.5 feet, 3 gallons per acre, and it's got dynamic terrain following. So as this contours in the field, you'll see it'll go. Our drones will stay at a constant height all the way across there. So they're spraying and going. You can see with 3 of them going at once, when they come back, we're going to need to reload. And that's where our autonomous reloading system comes into play. So that's down there in the trailer. We can walk down there in a little bit. And you'll see that will precisely mix up batches. You can do one chemical, spray the whole field equally, or you could put 3 separate things in 3 separate drones and get very precise with it. And we're tracking all of those with data. So every one of our flights that we've done, we know exactly where they were. It's on the app. We know what the pest was, what the area was, what the weather was, et cetera, everything through there. So the drones, when they either get to the end of their mission or run out of pesticide, will come back. So we've got our medium-sized booms on these. That'll give you a 12-foot boom and a 16-foot swath. That'll be very even and consistent across there. We've actually done some work with Mark, who's somewhere around here, to make sure that we have a very even, consistent swath. That's super important, especially for companies that care about quality of spray. We had a ton of interest from different trial companies. Rantizo actually did 300 trials this year with a wide range of companies, applying very precisely because of the quality of our spray. So we'll see, they're going to come back here anytime now. Our productivity, with one drone, you'll do about 14 acres an hour. That's at a 3-gallon rate. With a swarm of 3, you'll do 30 to 35 acres an hour. So assuming you're working an 8 to 10 hour day, you can do 250 to 350 acres per day with a full swarm and autonomous reloading. The reloading is really important because you want to minimize your amount of time on the ground. That really maximizes productivity of the drone. And that's what, at Rantizo, we've done 45,000 flights now. So we've learned from each one of those where we're able to see what works, what didn't, how do we get better, and everything else. And you'll notice Juan is up on the observation deck. That's a big thing for late season application. So when you're in the Midwest doing corn and the corn gets 7, 8 feet tall, you need an observation deck. If you're doing an orchard application or something else there, having that extra several feet to be up really increases your line of sight. So as I mentioned, well, we're swarming and we've got we'll get to see a reload here. So we're swarming and we're able to do this nationwide in any rural area with no buffer. So that's the specificity of our waiver from the FAA, that we can get into many, many locations. So you'll see Derek's going to drop that in there, one click, that's going to refill. There's a sensor on there. We're just putting water in, so he'll refill it really fast. We maximize the pump speed, maximize the hose and everything else, so we can get really, really quickly. We're measuring our reload times in seconds and trying to save seconds off, because when you have scale and you're able to do things in large volumes, those seconds really matter. It leads to huge, huge improvements in productivity as you multiply it by everything that's going on in the field. So we're set and ready to go. We can take off again as soon as he's cleared out of the way. Ultimately, we want this to be a completely autonomous system. Rantizo's trying to automate every single step. So we've got autonomous flight, we've got autonomous invoicing, we want to get to autonomous reloading, we want to get to autonomous dispatch, everything else. I want to make the whole system as automated as possible because everyone has labor problems, and that's ultimately what we're looking to solve. So you can see the drones are starting to come back. It's smart to stagger them. The OCD perfectionist in me would like it if all 3 of them could come out like that and then come back together, but it's better to stagger them so you can get them up and moving in the field. So we're going to do this field. I think it's like 4 acres. We'll have it done in 12 minutes or something like that. It'll be really, really quick. So you can see one drone lands, the next one takes off, just going vice versa. And that's the workflow that we've learned. So having a lot of experience doing this, just making sure that we're optimizing each step along the way. If you want to post these videos on Twitter, we're happy to, that'd be fantastic. You can tag us. It's at Rantizo Sprays is our Twitter hashtag, or Twitter username. And fly and apply is our hashtag that we always use. Yep.
How far above that canopy are you? And is that radar measuring off the top of the corn or the top of the
You'll set it so that it'll be about 4. The question was, how high do you fly over a corn canopy, for example? So we would set it to be about 4 to 6 feet above the top of the canopy, and we would train people on how to do that, because you'll get a hybrid of the ground and the top, so you can get that measurement. But once again, we've done it enough. We know exactly where to do the settings, and with the Rantizo training program, we set people up for success, having learned from all those different things. We've done a lot of full coverage sprays, so like a corn, soybean field that's even all the way across. We've also done banded sprays, so that's like a tomato application where we had 20 inches of tomatoes, 60 inches of bare ground, 20, 60, 20, 60. So we sprayed just the tomatoes in that in that instance, and saved 3/4 of the total application volume because we were spraying 20 out of 80 inches. So that was a big win. We've done spot spraying, like literally going down to hit one weed that's in a field. So in that example, it was corn planted as the weed in a soybean field, and we hit like 17 individual corn plants that were sticking out and like nailed it. So it was a very good one. I think we're landed now. If we want to walk down, I can show you guys the trailer and everything. Do you want me to just carry this as I go down? Sure.
Just keep it as close to your mouth as you can.
Sounds good.
That'll just make sure people online can
Yep.
see
If you want to come down, I'll show you guys the trailer and everything else there. I wonder if we cut that generator and just talk about this, because then I won't have to yell so much. So we have to choose between having power and having clear sound. So I'm choosing to have clear sound. So the generator is running. That powers our mix and fill system. You can see this here. So what this will do is pull multiple chemicals. We've obviously got it hooked up to the water tank. We're just pulling water and mixing water today. But you can store your chemicals down here and pull them out. It'll be measured in this sight glass. It'll do that very, very precisely. And one of the big benefits there is we can do that dynamically on the road. You're measuring the volume in there, so we don't have to worry about having a weight-based scale that needs to be calibrated again and again and again, and gets out of calibration as you drive down rural country roads, which is what everyone's doing. So this system is set up with everything that you need. So you've got your battery charger system up here with multiple batteries, multiple chargers. That's all plumbed and the electricity is all connected in. We've got water tanks. We've got our mix and fill system in here. And this is something that we can use for other people. It doesn't have to be a Rantizo drone on that mix and fill system. So we're happy to work with others. Same thing on our app. If you want to, if legal compliance is a big deal to you, it's a big deal to us. We've got all that set in the app where you can track your FAA numbers, all your permits, what's the EPA number of the chemical that you're spraying, do all that stuff. We track all that with data, and that's incredibly important. That app is also available to non-Rantizo contractors, just because we want to encourage compliance within the industry. That's a very important thing.
Hey Michael, the fire extinguisher, is that for a LiPo mishap?
Yeah.
What's the rating on that to control that?
That's a question that I don't know, but somebody
might actually be on.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Somebody spec'd that, I'm sure.
Yes.
So the rating on these is mainly, all these LiPo batteries, there's not a big enough extinguisher that will put one out. So when the fire department comes, what they'll do is they'll just grab it and move it out of the way.
I got you.
What the fire extinguisher is for on both sides is to extinguish out any fire that got caught on fire out
I
here.
got you.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll take these out, they'll just literally pull them out and just let it burn, because I think it's over 200 plus pounds of, was it heat?
There is a blanket.
Yeah.
Our company uses a blanket because we ship lithium batteries on airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
Airplanes have gone to a blanket.
Yep.
And then they throw it over and it, because you're right, lithium only burns, so they throw the blanket over it.
Yep.
But that's what protects the airplanes from any of the other cargo or anything
Nice.
else spreading.
Yeah.
So it's kind of spendy, but they do have
Yep.
a blanket now.
That's good. Yeah, that is not an issue that we've had, but it's always good to be prepared for them.
Just in case.
Yep, yep. Yeah, and you probably can't see it, there's another fire extinguisher up there as well. So just safety is very important to us. what other questions can I answer? That spinning thing on the side is that's our radar, which gives dynamic terrain following. So you could see as it was flying in the field, we were at 6 feet over all those contours. It works very, very well. You can also see the components that we've added on. So anything after the tank is Rantizo. So it's a DJI drone, and then everything that comes out of the tank and beyond there, that's our upgraded pumps, upgraded electronics, the booms that we've added on. As I said, these are the medium 12-foot booms. We also have 14-foot booms that give you a 20-foot swath width. And we usually use T-jet nozzle tips and have really good even coverage there. You can change out all your nozzle tips if you want a fine or a coarse droplet. You can change your PSI from 10 to 80 PSI, so depending on what you need for all those different components there.
Michael, for your flow rate calculation on your controller interface, does it give you your PSI rating as you're flying, or is it giving you a flow rate?
It's giving you a flow rate. We don't track PSI as we're flying. That's something that we could add on, but the weight that it would add is not necessarily worth it. And we have added it, we have done that. There's not tremendous variations in that. Rantizo is also working on a number of digital partnerships. So when you've got a company that finds an issue in a field, so you've got whatever, small area of a field that has a problem, if you can identify that and treat it very quickly, there's tremendous value that goes to the farmer. So we're working on a range of basically one-click interactions where we can pull all the information from a different digital data provider and then deliver that right to the Rantizo contractor who's nearby, and then go attack that pest, whatever it is, with all the information that you need. And our goal is to make that as slick and seamless as possible for our contractors. So the mentality extends from making the drone flight autonomous, reloading autonomous. We want jobs to come in autonomously. That's the whole entire system that we're putting together.
So Michael, that digital data, would it be in the form of a shape file, something like that?
Yep.
Here's the field, here's the areas.
Here's,
Do you have the capability to do points right now, like spot spraying?
Yep.
How about patches, if y'all considered smaller patches, not a whole field, but a mini field, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So we typically do in a 20, our typical boom is a 14-foot boom with a 20-foot swath. So we typically have 20-foot increments of what it is. So we'll measure it out that way and then go right there. So it's 20 by 80, 20 by 200, 40 by 60, whatever it ends up being. So we can do that very well. And then one of the things that we pioneered is pulling in shape files natively to the DJI system. That's something that we found a way to do, and then worked with DJI to make that readily available. It was only available to our contractors for a while, and now I think it's going out to the general public as well. But that's the type of thing that we like to lead the way on digital things, on permitting, everything else there.
So I have a Captain Obvious question. We hear a lot about worker exposure, and there's some arguments that you have greater worker exposure because of your mix and fill events. But it looks like with your system, in theory, you're not having multiple mix and load events.
Absolutely, no, that's.
Yeah, and you're not touching. I was watching. You're not touching the drone very much.
No, I want that to be completely hands-free. Right now, there's a little manual step in this, but yeah, absolutely. That's a big deal because you're spraying farther away from people, so obviously the drone application will reduce exposure. And then if you can reduce exposure in the mixing and filling setup, that's a vastly better way to do it.
Yeah, and you're not splashing chemical. You're putting.
No. Yeah, because those hoses would go to whatever chemicals you're pulling in. And then I can't overemphasize the importance of data. So if you want to make like a spot spray really targeted to one section of the field, we can get super precise with, we're doing these 2 chemicals in the northeast corner, we're doing a different chemical in the middle of the field, and then a 4th one maybe with drift control around the southwest border. So that we can all pull together with data, ideally all autonomously, and we're getting there.
Multiple tanks that you could pull from if you had to spray different things in the same day?
So you can. So like we've got an organic blueberry grower in Oregon that only wants his tank on his field. He doesn't want any, but he wants to know exactly what's been in that tank because he doesn't want anything to go in. And he pays us to have an extra tank, so that can be done. So I think that's overkill. I'm happy to make our customer happy, but we've got a nice rinsing process. We know how to do that. That's all kind of worked through with our data and things. And then we can do that also on the mix and fill. There's actually, every time that water runs through there, it cleans it out. Mike invented this and did a marvelous job on making sure that there's no leftover residue contaminating anything in there.
Mike, do you have any problem getting DJI parts with the way the world is right now?
We're a pretty big partner of theirs, so some things are slow, but we've got a lot of inventory, and we have a pretty strong relationship there. So
Do you sell parts as well?
we do. Yep. Yeah. We've even had other drone companies call us asking for parts, and like, well, we're out of props. Do you have, like, our prop would not work on your drone. Like, I'm happy to field the call, but our support team is excellent. They were really busy this year with everything going. Our fungicide application season was pretty tremendous. One of my favorite stats from, there's 168 hours in a week. 7 times 24 is 168. There was a week in July that Rantizo flew for 376 hours. So we had more than 2 drones in the air every minute of that week, all the fungicide application that we were doing all over the country.
You said that your props will fit on somebody else's drone. Why?
They're not designed for it.
Not designed for
I-
agris?
I guess I'm just saying personally, I would not put a prop on a drone, on a $15,000-$20,000 drone that is not specifically designed for that. There's too many times.
Buying one for like an Inspire, not another agris.
No, like a Helio drone or like a TTA or something like that. Yeah, no, absolutely. Agris props are interchangeable, absolutely. Oh, sorry, maybe I wasn't clear. Yeah, they were asking us for a different brand of drone to put their prop on.
Somebody asked if you had DJI parts.
Yeah, we have plenty of DJI parts, absolutely.
I probably missed it because I was in awe at the swarming. But how does that work? Do they have a predetermined path, and are they kind of talking to each other, or that's all predetermined?
Yeah, so you'll set out a field. So we've got kind of a trapezoid there. You can show her on the controller, and then we'll set that area up.
You in person, by the way. I've
Yes.
only seen you on the screen.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Here.
Yeah, we'll have predetermined flights. And so like our whole field, when we bring it in, this is the whole boundary area. And then I segment each little sections out to each drone. So like one of the drones will have section 3, which is, over here, to make this easier to see. We'll get rid of these. And so the yellow is where we're going to fly next. So that's 1, segment 3. And I just assign it to each one and then let them go.
Yep, looks good.
Yeah, and we can change the orientation of our flights. So if you get out here and you're planning to go north and south, and you find a wind that direction has changed from what you anticipated it being, you can, at the beginning of the day, at the beginning of the flights, you can reorient in 360 degrees to go perpendicular along whatever you need to do. And there's a lot of times, like with a vineyard spray or something, where you may want to go along the vines or you may want to go perpendicular. We can do all of those as well. You don't want to change it in the middle because then you're not going to have even coverage, but that you would do that at the beginning. We also do dry application, so we've got a lot of cover crop seeding. That's kind of how we finish the year. So with the same drone, you pop the liquid tank out, drop a dry spreader on, and then we've done a lot of cover crop work, a lot of beneficial insects. We've actually done that inside a greenhouse, which is that was a pretty cool application. You can do fertilizers, micronutrients, kind of late season boron applications in soybean that really helps yields pop. We have done leaf cuttings and then understand where one time it was a copper deficiency. You need copper to fix nitrogen, so the field had enough nitrogen but not enough copper to process it, so sprayed some spot application of copper and saw a yield bump. So all those things are fantastic. We're really big into automation and data, so if we can understand what the problem is and then very precisely apply from there, that's our goal. Nice. What other questions can I answer? How much time do we have?
Take the time you need, Mike.
Okay.
Okay. As long as there's interesting questions, we'll
Sure.
make time to answer.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Does DJI sell those pumps? Is that off market?
That everything from the tank outwards is all ours. And that's an upgrade kit that is designed by us, works well. It increases the productivity from 5 acres an hour to 14 acres an hour. You're flying faster, you're flying lower with a higher quality spray. So that's the big innovation there. It really improves productivity, but also the quality is very important.
And what's the gray box?
That's our electronics kit. Our electronics kit. Yeah. Oh, very cool. Any other questions?
You feel DJI is going to offer extensions, and did they come and look at this and go, oh, we're going to...
Yeah, they know what we're doing. Yeah, we talk to them a fair bit. Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Proprietary?
This? Oh, absolutely.
Even the extension on the boom?
A boom is not proprietary. Yeah, if we were the first people to conceive of a boom, I'd be wealthier than I am.
Be in a
Yeah,
different position.
yeah,
wouldn't you?
yeah,
Something Michael's that old.
yeah.
Good question. Yeah.
That's great.
But you're selling the booms, right?
Yeah, well, I'll sell an upgrade kit.
I think that's what is that what you were asking?
Yep.
He was wanting to know if you would give him the upgrade kit for his drone. Is what he's, I think is what he's asking.
We could do that. Yeah, sure. Yeah. If you can figure out the electronics, more power to you.
That's right.
That's why we've got Mike here with us.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
Tricky part for sure.
Where do they run?
What's that?
Keep that mic.
Oh,
His next thing is how much are they costing? Is probably what he's gonna ask next.
I will happily answer that off mic.
Yeah, I'll email him.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's good.
Two questions for you
Perfect.
online. Here, let me borrow
Yep.
that just briefly. All right, so a question from Ben online is asking, are you using a LiDAR system for your elevation adjustment?
It's a radar system.
Okay.
But yeah, you can see sorry, they can't see. There's a gray rotating radar that does that. It's dynamic, so it
Awesome.
will, as they could see in the field, hopefully, it follows those contours very, very well.
Yeah, great. And the other question is from JD, which says, would you be able to share an example of the flight outputs to see what data is created from a spray run?
I could do that. I would do it with a customer. I would do it with a partner.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
Could
a
they see
setup
that
that we
on
can.
your website? Is there anything like that?
I don't know that's on the website, but we certainly could.
Facebook page and all that we've had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Generated up there.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you could just say to JD, since you got the mic, that have them check out your Facebook page.
Yeah, JD, check us out on Facebook. You can also find us on Twitter, but that stuff I know has been on our one of our Facebook posts recently.
Aha.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
plug. That's
Yes.
right. Good.
No, I didn't get my chance to plug Task Force. That's a phenomenal thing. I'm really excited for the standardization of the data side, the flight parameters, everything else that needs to be done, and it'll be a really important thing.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, that's all I have online.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, yeah. Oh, sorry. One-handed. All right, awesome. Michael, thanks so much. Appreciate you setting all this up and the time and all that stuff that it took. And yeah, great work. All right, cool. Okay, good. Up in a couple minutes here, we're going to have leading edge aerial technology.